Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, from Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. It's time for the TNA Event Center report. And now here's the man to give you all the total non-stop action and impactful report, Mr. Eric M. Lima.
Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977, episode number 2398 of the show. What's going on? Before we get to the TNA, the final TNA, before Slammiversary, I'm going to address a couple of things. One, I know a lot of you good folks out there were talking about the Press Your Luck video I recently did last episode. My computer, now, I did it during the afternoon. I had to do it at 1 o'clock and all that. I had to do it earlier in the afternoon because of the fact that, I know a lot of folks are up, my computer was acting wonky during that whole, especially the CBS version portion of Press Your Luck. Unfortunately, there was nothing I can do to stop it because I don't want to stop and start already, and plus it was already over. And I didn't want to screw up the records and all that. That's one. Two, time constraints because the Rant and Rave podcast was going to start at 4:30 Eastern time. So it's like didn't have a whole lot of time if the computer keeps messing everything up. But I had to make do what I got. I'm very, very sorry about that. But at least the episode is finished, and hopefully. Hopefully we can get back to a regular basis next week, because, like I said, everything's gone wonky and crazy past couple of weeks already, and totally insane. So I do apologize for the good folks out there who expected to watch Press Your Luck with a clear mind and all, and unfortunately, like I said, the video got wonky. My computer got wonky during all that time, so I do apologize, everybody out there. So forgive me of that. But, like I said, I will regroup and do better. As always, just because I botched everything up doesn't mean I'm going to quit on the spot. You know what I mean? I'm just going to keep on going. I'm going to keep on going no matter what. So, yeah, my computer ended up being a little wonky, and I do apologize for that. But here's the positive side of things. Speaking of Rant and Rave, we did our episode 301, we had the ultimate high honor of interviewing one of the most legendary tag teams in the 80s, during the 80s wrestling scene, especially in the World Wrestling Federation, Demolition. And it was great to talk to them and share our favorite memories of Demolition, asking them about tag teams, what's their favorite, and all that. They put us on the spot about Mount Rushmore of wrestling. I like that challenge. Like they challenged us. This is so cool. So it was an ultimate honor. I was very honored to talk to them. They're pleasant to talk to, and it just blew my mind that Barry Darsow was actually a Repo Man before he gave him the gimmick. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I was mind blown. Now, we all knew that Paul Bearer, God rest his soul, was a licensed mortician, and Vince thought, okay. And now, all of a sudden, he goes, what did you used to be before you wrestled? And so I was a Repo Man. What? I was like, I did not know. I thought it was like some silly gimmick Vince came up with just the whim, the blue, kind of find out that Barry Darsow was actually a Repo Man. We should have asked him about Mr. Hole-in-One. So were you a golf fan back in the day? Anyway, so yeah, getting a chance to talk to both Mr. Barry Darsow and Mr. Bill Eadie, it was an ultimate honor. I complimented them on their promo cutting because they cut some of the best promos, and Bill Eadie explained the whole Demolition team, how they came to be, and I talked about Mr. Fuji and Nick Infante. I got your back on that question, brother, so I do apologize, but I figured I don't take the question as my own, but I figured I would ask on your behalf. So if you're watching this, Nick, I told you I got you, and I figured, because you and I, sometimes I was thinking the same way you are, talking about Johnny Valiant to Mr. Fuji is great, always in hindsight, Demolition was one of the best tag teams in the 80s, and so it was an honor. And I hope one day they make it to the WWE Hall of Fame. I'm dead serious on this. They should make it. They should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care. So, all right. So let's talk about TNA Impact, shall we? We'll talk a little some wrestling. Let's talk more wrestling. TNA Impact, the final TNA Impact before Slammiversary. Another match has been added to the card. I will get to that. Get to the entire card to make my picks and predictions for TNA Slammiversary. So let's get going here. Sami Callihan went 1-on-1 with Moose, and Moose ended up winning the matchup, which is very shocking. I thought Sami Callihan would give Moose a challenge, but it seems like Moose has been heck bent on winning. And then both him and Alicia Edwards, who accompanied him, addresses what's going to happen with Slammiversary as he defends the X Division title against Leon Slater. And then they turned they turned to Sami Callihan, tell him to get out of the ring and all that good stuff. And then Moose brings out the rest of the system. And then when the system, JDC, Eddie Edwards, and Brian Myers were waiting, they're waiting for Order 4. And then the lights went out. Dark State came about. Cutler James, Shaquan Sugars, Osiris Griffin, and Dion Lennox, they attacked the system, while Order 4 just decided to walk away. And I said, we don't need to deal with it, so there was no match. And then Gia Miller interviewed Danny Luna as she gets ready for her match against Tessa Blanchard. And then that match was, right afterwards. And Tessa Blanchard did end up winning the matchup because Victoria Crawford got involved. And then Crawford and Blanchard were attacking Danny Luna after the matchup. And then Indy Hartwell came out to Luna's aid. And then she calls out Blanchard after the matchup. And then there was the incident 3 weeks ago at an autograph signing with the Inspiration where the Elegance brand kind of wrecked everything. So, and then the Inspiration did address the Elegance brand as they will be challenging the Elegance brand for the Knockouts Tag Team Championship this coming Sunday at Slammiversary. Then the Elegance brand did come out, and it was supposed to be JC James' time to come out to talk about the title match, the title for title match, and then the Elegance brand came out saying they're the best women's faction in professional wrestling. And then Trado Influence comes out and said, we had no problem with you until you said that. So, and so Masha Slamovich, the Knockouts champ, comes out, and then the Elegance brand goes, you're dealing with her, we're leaving, right? So, as you know, by virtue of winning that Battle Royal, Ash by Elegance is the number one contender to the Knockouts Championship. But she may have to wait till she faces either Masha Slamovich or JC Jane for that title. Because it was a title for title matchup, and whoever wins, a winner take all, will take all the championships. And if Masha Slamovich wins, that means we get to see a lot more of her on NXT. So there you go. And then in the back, Hot Roll was checking up on Dan Luna. Jody Threat came out. Is she okay? You okay? And all that. And I think Jody Threat, starting to get a little frazzled up. And we'll see what happens. And as Indy Hartwell goes, she's going to be okay. And then Mike Santana cut a promo on Slammiversary. And, he was thinking about his family during the whole time. So I thought it was pretty cool. The Hometown Man took on Judas Icarus, and the Hometown Man ended up winning that matchup. And then you got the fourth rope with Real One, who says he's going to arrive. Enzo Amore says he's going to arrive at Slammiversary, but he's not coming alone. He's bringing Zilla Fop 2 with him, and whoever he's bringing. And I'll tell you one thing, he's going to need him because Dark State's going to be running around at Slammiversary, and I'll tell you why in just a few moments. Steve Macklin addresses being the fighting international champion, and he says, and he's inviting, possibly issuing an open challenge for Slammiversary. I don't know. All I know is he's issuing that challenge. And then Matt Cardona comes out for his matchup against Jake Painter, but he calls out Dark State before the match even starts, And then Dark State shows up and attacks Cardona. And then Jake Painter got the same way. So again, another no match. But then Brian Myers, who him and that Cardona are longtime friends, comes out and helps him. But the numbers were too much. And now JDC and Eddie Edwards, because he's our system guy, let's get him. Let's help him out. And they did help him out in the end. Then the Hardys addresses the Pittsburgh crowd about Slammiversary, which could be their minds. They could be this their last time as a team and all that. It was like, and Jeff Hardy said if they don't win the titles, then there'll be no more Hardy Party. Leon Slater came out and said, "You guys can't quit now. You guys can. We looked up to you guys and all," and he's encouraging them to keep on going. First Class interrupts Leon Slater and the Hardys, and then the Hardys goes, "This is not your fight. You leave." And Leon Slater goes, "You sure?" "Yeah." And then as First Class and the Hardys were talking smack, here comes the Nemitz. The Nemitz starts talking smack, and my brother! And it got to the point where they punched the Hardys, and then the Rascals, Myron Reed and Zachary Wentz, came out and beat the snot out of First Class and all, while the Hardys dealt with the Nemitz, and the Hardys stood tall in the end. And just the reason why, in fact, this matchup, I believe, is kicked up the notch because it's going to be a ladder match for the TNA Tag Team titles. And that's the ladder match. The ladders are the Hardy specialty. Then in the main event, the tag team matchup between Joe Hendry and Mike Santana versus Trick Williams and Frankie Kazarian, and Hendry and Santana pick up the victory to give themselves momentum. And then at the end, there was you remember the TNA box that everybody was talking about when they changed, when they decided to change the name back to TNA? Well, the box exploded. And in it, P1. Phenomenal one. There's been rumors going around that AJ Styles may make an appearance in TNA Slammiversary. If that's the case, what's going to happen next? Remember, AJ Styles is trying to get himself an Intercontinental title shot against Dominic Mysterio. Well, will a side trip to TNA Slammiversary kind of motivate him? Who knows? Alrighty then, so let's check the TNA Slammiversary 2025 match card, okay? Triple threat match for the TNA World title. Trick Williams defends it against Joe Hendry and Mike Santana. The X Division title will be on the line as Moose defends that against Leon Slater. Tag team title fatal 4-way match with the tag team titles on the line in a ladder match. The Nemitz defends against the Hardys, the Rascals, and First Class. 2 one-on-one matches. Indy Hartwell, one-on-one with Tessa Blanchard. Cedric Alexander, one-on-one with Order Force Mustafa Ali. The Knockouts tag team titles will be on the line in the countdown as the Elegance brand defends it against the Inspiration. And then, title versus title. Winner take all. The NXT Women's Championship and the TNA Knockouts Championship are both on the line, as Masha Slamovich will defend her TNA Knockouts title against JC Jane, who will defend her NXT Women's title against Masha Slamovich as well. And this match is just added. 8-man tag team match, the System, teaming up with Matt Cardona to go up against Dark State. So, what is going to happen, in that matchup? So, let's talk about this, and we're going to talk about the TNA World title on the line. It is time for Santana to win in his home state, and I'm picking Mike Santana to win. And then Exhibition title, Moose and Leon Slater. There will also be a new champion. I believe Leon Slater is going to win the title. Nemitz versus Hardys versus Rascals versus First Class. I think a lot of people don't want to see the Hardys retire. Neither do I. Let's pick the Hardys to win that matchup. Indy Hartwell versus Tessa Blanchard. I'm picking Hartwell over Blanchard. Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali. Well, I believe since the Order 4 is back together, I think Ali is going to win that matchup. The Elegance brand versus Inspiration. I'm picking the Inspiration to walk out with the gold. And Masa Slamovich versus JC Jane. I think Masa Slamovich, I'd like to see her make more NXT appearances. And I'm picking her. And then the System and Matt Cardona versus Dark State. I think the System is going to double cross Cardona, turn their back on him, and leave him to the Wolves. Dark State wins the matchup. So those are my picks and predictions for TNA Slammiversary. I'll go over them one more time to let you guys know what's going on. TNA World Title on the line. Trick Williams defense against Joe Hendry and Mike Santana. I like Joe Hendry, but I think it's Mike Santana's time. And then Moose versus Leon Slater. I believe Leon Slater is going to be the new champ. Meanwhile, the Nemesis defend against the Hardys, Rascals, and First Class defend the tag team titles in a four-way ladder match. I picked the Hardys because that's their specialty. Indy Hartwell versus Tessa Blanchard. I picked Hartwell to win. Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali. I picked Ali to win because Order 4 can get involved. And then the Knockouts tag team titles on the line. The Elegance brand versus Inspiration. I picked the Inspiration to win the matchup. Title for title. Masha Slamovich defending the Knockouts title against the NXT Women's Champion JC Jane, who will defend her title, her Women's Championship, against Masha Slamovich. I picked Slamovich to be the new NXT. I picked her to retain the TNA Knockouts title, but become the new NXT Women's Champion. And the System versus Matt Cardona versus Dark State in the 8-man tag. I think the System's going to double-cross Cardona, and Dark State's going to win the matchup because all the tension is there. Well, that's all the time that we have on this show. Episode 2398 tomorrow. I think this is where I reach 2,400 episodes, so we've got 2 episodes left that I can do. Tomorrow will be Bullseye, the game of strategy, luck, knowledge, and daring. And also, SmackDown, the fallout from the 2 events that happened. Saturday Night's Main Event Part 2 and Evolution Part 4. Because I covered the Evolution fallout for NXT and Evolve as well. Because they, one person from Evolve did take place, and that was Vicky D'Erico, the referee. So, that's it, and that's all there is to it. I'll see you guys tomorrow on episode 2399, and until next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home. That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E and Door for Bob Saget production, and in association with a Raving Bull for 3000 Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. See you later on the next episode of the show. Goodbye for now.